I'd almost completely forgotten I installed a Footwell Illumination kit when I bought my car until I came across this footage I meant to stitch together almost 2 years ago. If you didn't know, this is an LED that casts a pleasing glow into the footwell of the cabin. It's a nice and subtle effect that comes in different colors. This particular one is Subaru's red OEM version. I want to emphasize that this is not a distracting light. It simply adds to the ambiance at night. In the box, you're going to have a hardware kit that includes foam tape to protect cables and prevent rattles, the wiring harness that really just consists of one cable with 3 connectors, and then of course your LED footwell lights. Each of these will be hidden in the footwell of both the driver and passenger side. I will note that these are single color LEDs. There are aftermarket options that have programmable RGB LEDs, but I always like to say that you get what you pay for, so make sure you do your research. The installation is actually quite simple. First, we have to remove the glove box, so just open it like this and then pull the damper out like you see me doing right here, and it can just stay in place for now. Then on either side of the glove box, there are retaining clips that are part of the glove box, but I find it easier just to pull the glove box out, and then you don't have to worry about those 2 retainers because they'll slide right out with it. Just make sure you angle the glove box down. If you feel uncomfortable doing it like this, just pinch the 2 retainers and then lower the glove box until it slides out. And now we have to remove this upper vent bezel right here. You will need a panel removal tool like this. I'll link to a nice kit in the video description. Sometimes you can even do this with your fingers, but a panel removal tool is definitely the best bet. When you get it separated a bit, you can then use your hands to pull it out completely and then unplug the 2 connectors back here. They each have a little tab that you have to push and then just move the bezel out of the way. The connector we're interested in is this one right here for the hazard lights. So we'll grab the male from the kit and plug it into that connector on the car. The female right here, as you might have guessed, gets plugged into the light switch on the bezel. So all we did was tap into it for a power source. This particular button on the dash comes on automatically when the night lights are on. That's why we are using this one. This way your Footwell Illumination kit only comes on when you have the lights on manually or at nighttime if you have your lights on auto. From this point, it's a matter of cable management, and although there is some wiggle room, for the most part, it should look somewhat similar to the way that I routed the cable. I'll show you that in a sec, but I do want to emphasize that you should use some zip ties to secure the cable along the way. There should never be a cable that is just loose and dangling. Secondly, the kit includes this foam tape. It's included to 1, protect the cable against chafing, and 2, prevent rattles. Aside from death and taxes, nothing is more guaranteed than an unprotected connector developing a rattle. So make sure you wrap this connector up here with foam tape and you will have nothing to worry about. So let me show you what I did real quick before I move on. So all I did was I routed, obviously I plugged in the cable right here to the main harness. You know, you can't miss it. I just showed you how to do it, but you can't miss that. And then the other cable coming from the harness is going to be the one connected to your hazard lights. Now, I used the zip tie right there to secure the main cable to that cable branch right there. And then I took one side right here and I routed behind that beam right there on this side, and I'm going to show you where that's coming out on the other side over there. That's the one that's going to power your passenger side footwell lighting. Then this one right here, I did the same thing, but obviously on the opposite side, and this is going to be the one that's going to light up your driver's side lighting. So all I'm going to do now is tuck in those cables down there and plug the stuff back in and move on. And here's a better look. You can see the connectors plugged back into the bezel. Right below it, the cable is secured to that cable branch back there with a zip tie. Moving towards the driver's side, you can see the cable secure with zip ties on its way down, and same thing on the passenger side, although the cable is hidden on that side. So let's install the actual lights and finish this up. On the driver's side in the footwell, and please don't mind the cable mess as I was in the middle of a couple of installs, you will find 2 studs, each with a nut right under the airbag. And I know this old video is terrible, but all I'm doing is removing those 2 nuts with a 10mm socket and ratchet, because that is exactly where the LED is going to go. Once those nuts are out, just put the LED right on the studs and then secure them with the nuts. Simple enough. After that, it's a matter of just plugging the connector to the cable we already routed. Now, when I first installed this, I opted to wrap the cable. It's been coming apart a little bit. For that reason, learn from my mistake and simply put the connector against the metal right here and then put the foam tape over the connector and the metal. Just make sure that you thoroughly clean the area with alcohol and you'll be good to go. The passenger side is only slightly different. So I zip tied the cable right here and I'm gonna run it behind here like this. And then it's gonna attach down here with the 3M tape. And then I'm gonna zip tie the cable up here. The thing is that you want to be able to remove this frame in the future, so be mindful of that. Normally I would wrap the connector,
But since I want to be able to unplug that connector in case I need to remove the frame, and because I intend to install a new radio at some point, I'm going to have to remove that frame. I'm going to go ahead and leave the connector accessible back there, but I'm making sure 100% that there's no place that this cable will rattle back there.
Make sure you clean the install surface with alcohol, which will ensure that the light sticks here for many, many years. So very easy and quick install. This is one of those mods that I honestly forget is even installed, but every now and then at night I look down and notice that soft red glow, and it's a nice reminder that sometimes the simple things can make your car ownership a more personal and pleasing experience. For better or worse, let me know what you think in the comment section, or if you have any questions, I will see you next video. Take care.